Sawadee krap. My name is Imtiaz Muqbil. I am the executive editor of Travel Impact Newswire based in Bangkok. I have been covering the Asia Pacific travel and tourism industry since 1981. My detailed notes, research, reports and columns over the last 40 years are now being compiled into an unmatched history of travel and tourism, which I am sharing free publicly so that future generations may learn the lessons of history, replicate our past successes, and avoid repeating past mistakes. The focus of this lecture is to analyze the various factors that could shape the outcome of Visit Thailand Year 2022, announced by the Thai government as part of the post-COVID-19 economic recovery project. I will strive to provide an honest, realistic, and objective appraisal of these factors, especially the risks. This will help both the public and private sectors decide how and where to allocate scarce financial resources and not be misled by rosy forecasts. Perhaps most important, it is long overdue for the industry to initiate a debate on ways to reduce the level of risks, shield itself from external shocks, and take control of its destiny. The benchmark for this analysis is the original Visit Thailand Year 1987, a tourism marketing extravaganza which made Thailand into what I call the greatest story in global tourism history. I am proud to have written the only 2 books about that extraordinary event and its aftermath. They are available from sale from the Foreign Correspondents Club of Thailand bookstore. If you would like to order them, the contact email is on the screen. As we look ahead, the good news is that Thailand's tourism strengths are intact. Its tourism infrastructure, products, services, and facilities are as good as ever. It remains a highly desirable destination. An enormous volume of capacity is waiting to be filled. Visit Thailand Year 2022 is designed to do just that. The bad news is that that's where the good news ends. The entire global operating environment, the broader context, is totally different from that which led to the success of Visit Thailand Year 1987. As events of the past few decades have proved, tourism is no longer in control of its destiny. It is entirely at the mercy of external and internal shocks. That scenario is not looking good. The most important difference between Visit Thailand Year 2022 and Visit Thailand Year 1987 is that the sense of unity and purpose is missing. Visit Thailand Year 2022 is just another post-crisis tourism marketing exercise. Visit Thailand Year 1987 was a grand celebration, a commemoration of the 60th birthday of a highly revered king, His Majesty Rama IX the Great. In 1985, just 2 years prior, Thailand had suffered an attempted coup. The king's then upcoming 60th birthday in 1987 was an opportunity to both celebrate that event and reunite the country. That sense of purpose does not exist today. The second important downside is that tourism marketing exercises these days require big budgets, which are no longer available. Government revenues have been decimated, debt is piling up, and the specter of inflation is looming large. The Tourism Authority of Thailand will no doubt be seeking extra allocations, but these could all be wasted if the operating environment does not stay stable. The cash flow crisis is even worse in the private sector, which will have to deal with the added costs of providing safety and security, health and protection measures, adjusting to new distribution technologies, and responding to the pressures of climate change. The manpower situation is also looking volatile as the industry competes for jobs with other economic sectors seen to be more secure. All this will mean a high-risk, high-cost environment for several years. The geopolitical global operating environment is also risky. The China-US rivalry, Israel's repeated threats to attack Iran, the future of Russia after Putin, the rise of religious extremism and ethnic tensions, otherwise known as the clash of civilizations, all these destabilizing factors are attracting daily headlines. Thailand's neighborhood is also unstable, dominated by the political crisis in Myanmar. A leadership transition in Cambodia is underway. India is trying to flex its muscles around the region. Malaysia too is facing internal political friction. Admittedly, the situation at home is not as stable as it was in 1987. The jobs market is likely to remain weak. Travel and tourism is set to face pressure from the same pool of labor. More migrant workers may be necessary. The pandemic is set to take a huge toll on mental health, the full extent of which is not yet known. The prospects of global labor strikes and unrest are very high. Perhaps the most significant cause of risks, threats, and instability is that the COVID-19 crisis has set back the global ability to meet the UN Sustainable Development Goals, even as countries waste trillions of dollars on weapons and armaments. The root cause of the crisis, the COVID pandemic itself, is far from over. No one is safe until everyone is safe, says the World Health Organization. Thailand is managing the delicate task of balancing lives and livelihoods as best as possible. But the global vaccination program still has a long way to go. New variants keep emerging and travel restrictions are still being turned on and off, further impacting visitor confidence. Let's now look at the risks within the industry itself. In 1987, the Visit Thailand Year gave the kingdom a distinct competitive advantage. Today, competition is intense from just about every global city, state, province, and country. Thailand's unique selling propositions are far less prominent than they were in 1987. In 1987, Thai Airways International's marketing campaigns led the way. That is unlikely to happen in 2022. The airline has just undergone heavy-duty financial restructuring and is very much at the mercy of internal and external shocks. Are the country's main tourism institutions, both in the public and private sectors, prepared and ready to deal with the multiplicity of changes and challenges? All of them are legacy institutions. Will their old ways of doing business apply in the new era? Digging down further, the small and medium-sized enterprises in travel and tourism are most impacted by the pandemic. Thousands have gone out of business. Bringing them back to life will be a long and painful affair and also require heavy public sector support. The new operating environment will require adjusting to new sources of business, such as the work from anywhere phenomena. Also, many distressed assets will be offloaded to foreign investors at dirt cheap prices. All these will need regulatory changes. They will also have to be monitored and evaluated to ensure balanced benefits for Thailand and its people in the years ahead. From a political perspective, however, the government is anxious to ensure a successful Visit Thailand Year 2022. If, and that's a very big if, the operating environment remains stable enough for arrivals to just cross the 1 million mark, it will be touted as a success. But the job will be only half done. In fact, it will open the door for the biggest opportunity which awaits. 2022 will mark 10 important anniversaries of events that have shaped global, regional, and local tourism over the past 60 years. Just as Visit Thailand Year 1987 revolutionized global tourism, the most important opportunity for Thailand is to take advantage of these 10 anniversaries to again take the lead in designing a new tourism Magna Carta, one that will draw upon the lessons of history to reduce risks, stabilize the global operating environment, raise the level of discourse in travel and tourism, and create a safer, more stable, sustainable, and secure industry for future generations. I will identify those 10 anniversaries in my lecture next week. Thank you for watching today. If this lecture gave you food for thought, please click like and subscribe to the Travel Impact Newswire channel. I welcome feedback. Sawadee krap, and thank you very much indeed.